Welcome back to the Beyond the Pump podcast, where we talk all things fitness, nutrition, business, and relationships. Today, we are talking about the six-figure coaching anatomy, what that looks like from a marketing perspective, and what it really means to deliver the value of a six-figure coach in 2024. And you're going to want to stick around for the end, where we talk about brand new life coaching services. So stay tuned as we jump in.
All right, gang. Are we good with the six-figure trainer or coach in general, or do we want something different?
Are we saying six-figure or 10K?
Well, I think that's something fun we can bring up through this, because when people market it, the general idea of 10K months in 30 days or less, or be a six-figure coach, be a nutrition coach and make $100,000 a year. It comes in many different disguises, but at the end of the day, the promise all feels kind of similar. So, Andrew, you know that, like, those memes that you might see on Instagram or whatever, where the person's doing this and like they're trying, like, I see that Adam Ross guy making a video of Coke, but then like you see the video after and it's just of him. That's what I just felt like was happening.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The ones were like, hey, would you mind taking a picture of us? And it's like Jack Black and he's just fucking around.
Yeah. So,
yeah, six-figure coach.
Yeah, the idea of a six-figure coach, trainer, nutrition coach, fitness, whatever works for you. But it comes in many different forms. You brought that up right out of the gates of, should we talk about like 10K months? Should we talk about six-figure coach? Is it technically $8,334 per month? Like, I think those are all good ways to kind of go down this road and open the door of being a six-figure coach, and the advertising that we get from a bunch of companies to go be a six-figure coach. And I'm going to start this off with, I am very supportive of every single person becoming a six-figure coach. I'm going to start it off with that, because
You're a socialist?
I feel like we're going to go down this road of like bashing something here soon. And I just want everybody to be aware that I think making six figures is a good thing. That is the goal. That's our goal. Our goal for you is to make six figures. But we are here to be way more honest about it.
There's the spoon.
Than some of the other companies that might be out there. And that's why this topic is the topic of the day. So, Andrew, any things you want to throw out of the gates as we're starting this one up, as we're getting this one going here?
I have so many. When I was young, start with, you had to know shit before you sold shit. And when the internet came around, think about like being a lawyer in the 1950s. You're going to have to hit them books. You got to go to the Dewey Decimal System to find a resource to read that shit. And then you got to go and put it back. Otherwise, the librarian's going to scream at you. I'm not that old, but just how the image plays in my head. And you think about internet came around, in the 90s and the 2000s, and it really changed people's access to information. And so I don't know, when we think about how do we create a competitive advantage and how do we stand out amongst our crowd and how do we ultimately, because starting with the base premise of economics, the average income for a health coach, the average income for a personal trainer, I should say, is $42,000 to $46,000 a year, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. For a health coach, it's somewhere around $54,000, and that's with a degree. So personal training, no degree. Health coaching typically has a degree, clinical setting. And so we're talking about 2xing what the average salary is. Now, when I think about that, I think it's the Wild West from a health coaching perspective right now of how do you actually create perceived value and realized value. And I think that those are the two things where you look at knowledge, competency, and experience are absolutely essential for people to creep up to the 100K or the six-figure or the 10K per month or whatever you want to call it. Paradigm is currently emerging right now. But I think people are fucking up, and this is where I get so mad, is that they're trying to fast track the experience part or they're trying to skip the knowledge part. And those are the two biggest pitfalls out of the last 4 years of certifying over 20,000 coaches. And like, those are the things that people that struggle in industry will traditionally kick themselves for. And one of the biggest litmuses is that they feel imposter syndrome, which means that there's some semblance of I'm not good enough, I don't belong, I shouldn't charge that. And there's probably some truth to that if we really pull back the layers and are just honest. Because if you're a brand new certified coach and you're charging more than the average online coaching fee, and that's your domain of $230 a month, I feel like there's something ethically, I have ethical qualms with that. Like, why would you charge above the average if you're not even average? Which the average tenure is somewhere around 3.5 years in the health coaching space. So, just some initial thoughts that I have on it of like what you should be able to do from a service delivery perspective before you actually solicit people for something that would be deemed above average. But I mean, Brandon, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic.
Yeah, and I whenever I would see those two, we talked about this on another episode where if it almost comes when I see the advertisements and the marketing for like, oh, get 10K per month, it always comes off how it's being advertised to me as a kind of like a quick or get rich quick kind of a thing. And if it was really like as
You give,
easy as what's that?
you give an example.
There's ads I'll see online.
Evie, have you seen anything like that?
I'm about to do a series on social media where I break down different ads from different companies. And this isn't just to go after the ad.
Mhm.
Like I just
Yeah.
there are marketing principles that I do want people to take out of what I'm going to do, and there are strategies and tactics that are being leveraged that I think people should understand. But I am also going to call out some of the falsities that might exist, or, Brandon, as you were saying, the get rich scheme type mentality where who doesn't want more money? I think I've only met one person that I've had to have a conversation with, like trying to discuss the idea of more money. And let's add some context. It's not about the money, but it's about what the money itself enables you to be able to do, hopefully, ideally for good. But I've only met one person I had a conversation with where we're just misaligned on the idea of more money. And more money in that context was like, they're like, I'm fine with like $50,000 a year. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't you want 70? Right? So like, just so we can put that in perspective. But most people, except this one person that I know, and I'm sure there's a few more of you out there, want more money. So what is it going to appeal to? One of the three major drivers or motivators is for us as humans, our wealth side of things, where if I can go make more money faster, speed, now all of a sudden that's an amazing thing. I should totally go do this, invest in this, do the thing, and I'm going to get rich. Because $100,000 a year might absolutely be rich for one person, whereas it might not be for somebody else. And we know the person it might be rich for is obviously going to be maybe looking for that next best thing to try to get there. So, Brandon, I think you bring up a interesting point on that side of how it feels. And again, some of the examples that might be out there. So watch my IG. It's going to be entertaining is maybe a good word to put there. So anyways, Brandon, I interrupted you, dude. What else were you going to say?
Yeah, and I guess to elaborate a little bit more on the where I just kind of I don't know if you kind of have that like sixth sense and it just kind of feels kind of off what's going on because even the ads itself kind of come off as a little lazy. There was a trend going on for a little bit where it was like just literally like Microsoft Paint and it was like our advertiser's gone, but I love them. I really like those ads, but I felt like it was a very short lived thing where people are doing it now because it really is the easiest way to do it, not because it was like, oh, this is smart, this is going to be an attention grabber. This is like, oh, it worked out for another company. So I've seen some like that.
Microsoft Paint, y'all. That's wild.
No joke. Yeah, it's funny. The company that initially did, I think it was for like I think it was like a hot tub company I saw it for out
I
here in Phoenix.
I think it was a ice cold
Oh, maybe
plunge.
it was a cold plunge. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
saw
yeah.
the same one where it literally MS Paint and they
Yeah.
wrote it on there like really bad. I was like, that is That's epic. And it caught my attention, especially for everybody who's somewhere plus or minus that age range that would remember Microsoft Paint, right? So on the very, very low end, late 20s, on the very high end, probably early to mid 40s. So you got 15 years plus of people are gonna be like, oh my God, do you remember Microsoft Paint? Great marketing principle, by the way. Okay. Bring something back that somebody relates to. It's nostalgic. It makes them think of a better time in life or something like that. And they are going to scroll stop and continue to look at that thing. 100%. One of us on this call might have bought that cold plunge. I'm just saying. So,
sorry, Jason Stella. God, yeah, and just to be clear, I just want to redact something real quick or clarifying that. This is not intended to disparage any specific aspirations, because we think that, again, exactly what Steve mentioned, we believe that the industry needs to be elevated, and being an allied health professional in some sense, where we're truly going out there interfacing with clients, people with health conditions, people with physical aspirations. Like, those are the things that people should be paid well for, so we can ensure that there's a quality level of professional that exists. Originally, just to kind of clarify, the gripes that I have around certain things is that there should be a series of progressions that are necessary to precede the ability to charge that stuff. I worked my entire 20s and I had pretty terrible business acumen, but I was probably, netting about $1,500 a month or less. And I don't want that for anybody. So there's definitely the wrong way to go about it. However, I don't think going from one certification after you've gone through one prep phase for a bodybuilding show really then allows you to have the competency necessary to generate results that people are expecting from someone that is charging six figures. Because let's be honest, like, if you're paying $500 a month for your cable bill and your cable never works, like, you'd be pretty pissed off. So that's kind of the same semblance from any service. If a plumber comes over and they can't fix your plumbing and they charge you an arm and a leg, which they always will, that you need to be able to deliver. So we want to treat it like it's a trade more than anything, which means that you got to be licensed, you got to be bonded in some form or fashion, because that stuff is going to come down the pipe if you want to be a relevant professional as board certifications become more prominent in the industry. So just a disclaimer, we want you there, but there is a right way to generally go about it. And that's going to be something that's going to be grounded legally here in the next 5 to 10 years.
So, you bring up, I came in with a very pointed thing of, hey, when you're running a business, going from not six figures to six figures plus is two entirely different businesses, generally speaking. Okay, there is a world, and I'm going to lean on the idea that can you fulfill, but there is an idea that, hey, can you charge 1,000 times for $1,000? That is technically $100,000. And that isn't unrealistic. Can you find 8 or 9 people to pay you $1,000 a month for an entire year? The answer is probably yes. But can you get them the results to substantiate that level of commitment and that level of, call it, cost? The other side of that, though, is a majority of people are going to spend some or charge somewhere in that range of $300, $400, maybe pushing $500 on the high end. And I'm not going calculators here and slowing us down and typing all this in, but on the high end, we're talking clients ranges that are pushing 40 clients a month, with clients rotating in and out, with sales calls, with marketing responsibilities. There are not many people that want to generate, when charging $300, $350 a month, $100,000 a year, and never hire somebody. It just, that is not something that exists, because you get tired. It starts to become hard to do it all. And you're not actually getting the vacations and all the things that you think you deserve at that point in time. And frankly, there are companies, any of us could teach you to start generating $10,000 months in 30 days. Will it happen to everybody? No, the results aren't typical and blah, 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 and all the things that have to be out there. My lawyer will insert the stuff. And you have to have an audience and connections and all the things, right? There are things that you have to have. But it is very possible for that to happen. I know somebody who went from making $30,000-$40,000 a month to doing $250,000 a month in their business in revenue. Like within 30 days, I think they started to drive up, and within 3 or 4 months, they were massively 10xing what they were doing. Surface level, it sounds great, but when you talk to that business owner, he never made any money. He made a few dollars. He had some business owner perks, which is code for business paid for his travel and certain things like that, but he never actually went down the road of putting money in his checking account, investing some money, and being able to grow long-term wealth. And then, oh, by the way, he fell out of love with his business, had to become this massive people leader, which he didn't want to do. He just wanted to help people. And now he closed that business. And it's insane to me that somebody that was pacing over $3 million a year, 7 figures, no longer 6 figures, said, fuck this, I don't like it, I'm not doing it anymore. Now that's an extreme example, but it can happen when you're going from 30, 40 grand a year to 100, 120 grand a year. If you build your business for it to be just you doing $120,000 a year, that's an amazing spot to be in. But most people, because of the lack of confidence, the lack of training, the lack of ability to produce a result, are not charging enough for that to make sense unless they're training or coaching 40, 50, 60 people. And that just creates a massive barrier to ultimately your sustained success. So that's like the big overarching theme for me really is like, I want you to get there, but there's also skill sets that come along with making sure that that is sustainable and you don't turn into hating what you do. Because Andrew, would you say people stay 3.5 years as a coach?
That's a long one. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's 2 reasons that people stop. A, they're not making enough money, and B, they fall out of love with the thing that they're doing as a byproduct of probably not making enough money on average. But then there's also a big group of people in there that are making enough money but have massive businesses and still fall out of love with it because these companies sell them this big dream, but forget some of the, hey, just FYI, here are the skills you are also going to need in order to continue this thing, to continue on this hockey stick curve that you're on. So, and when you're busy selling all the time and doing all that stuff, it's hard to fulfill. And then retention, referrals, like all those things just dip way down, which now puts more pressure on marketing and sales. Like how many of us have been in a situation where like, I got to wake up and generate leads? It's like, fuck, like that sucks having to wake up every day and only think about more leads. Entrepreneurial lead syndrome, ELS. They don't make any pills for that. No pills. You just got to realize what's actually broken in your business.
I mean, I think that, yeah, you raise a lot of valid points and definitely considerations that people, anything is possible. I will say things should just be put on a realistic time frame. The same way that when people are mailing packages across the country, do you want it to take a month? You can send that shit on Pony Express. Do you want it to be overnighted? It's going to cost you probably more than the package itself sometimes is worth. And when we think about how to get someone to be a valuable coach and to have that realized value, that means you have to be able to deliver results, and your ability to deliver results and do it in an efficient time frame is realistically, let's say that someone's going to pay you $3,600 and that's $300 a month for 12 months. Or what if they paid you $900 a month for 3 months? Like it's the same total amount. Sometimes if you don't have the right diagnostic toolkit and you don't know what to look for and you don't have the right systems to make the appropriate changes along the way to troubleshoot and get people back on track and have the relationship where they actually want to do what you're saying, that's where you become inherently less valuable, not as a person, but as a professional, as someone that's able to deliver those realized results and having these people see, okay, cool, this is actually working. I'm getting my money's worth, which is such a hard thing to really communicate and convey in the health industry of like, people say they want to lose 10 pounds. They realistically just want to feel a certain way in their skin. I've had people that have gained weight that were a little bit obese that were like, I feel so much better. I'm like, that's crazy. Very small minority of individuals, but like at the end of the day, I think people just want to feel better. So a coach's ability to leverage fitness, nutrition, relationship building, joint venture partnerships, business, development in an ethical sense in every semblance, those are all absolutely critical skills for people to command a higher price point and to, be justified with that and have no qualms about it. And that's the way that when someone throws out a price point and they say it in a shaky voice, like, it's $500 a month, I'm like, when's the last time you read a book? And by the way, when I ask that question to most new coaches, they're like, I listen to podcasts. I'm like, Barbell Medicine, Huberman, Beyond the Pump. They're like, murder mystery. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Get out. But like, it's laughable and it's tongue in cheek, and obviously it's hyperbolic, but coaches inherently need to understand how the body works so they can determine when it's not working. So then when they determine it's not working by their diagnostic, their metrics, their checkpoints, then they can start to figure out what they need to what they need to fumble around with or who they need to refer out to. So those are really the tactical things that I have to impart on today's stuff. It was fitness, nutrition, like all of it comes down to you need to understand basic anatomy and physiology. And if you want to stand out from people in 2024 that are chat GPTing training plans and nutrition plans and everything else, like go learn how the body works and be pleasantly surprised when you can translate that into what your client should do based upon what you know is going on.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, so Brandon, oftentimes I get to sit here and say, yeah, I know nothing about this topic, and that's not to imply that you know nothing about this, but if I came to you and said, hey, dude, we're going to start your coaching business and we're going to blow this one up and it's going to be more than you've ever had, and out of the gates, I think I can get you making around $20,000 a month. Like surface level, tell me your thoughts about that. Like, oh yeah, I'm in. Oh yeah, I'm not in. Like, and don't obviously take into account what we've just been talking about, but just very black and white. You want to go make 20 grand a month, Brandon?
Yeah. How are we doing this?
Exactly, right? And that's the tends to be the reaction from most people. And it's like, all right, cool. Hey, you're going to go build an audience, and then you're going to go post, and then you're going to go into groups, and then you're going to go walk Main Street, and you're going to talk to every person, and you're going to text every single phone number you have on your phone, and you're going to do all these things, whichever path you're going, in person, online, and you're just going to tell people that, hey, you're here to solve all of their world's problems. Okay? And you'll be like, all right, cool. Down. I'm like, hey, Brandon, I got the plan for you. Okay? It has never failed. Ever. Every single time it has worked. Okay? You still in? You still in, dude? 20K a month?
I'm in.
Sweet. All right. Awesome. Now, I'm going to hand you this plan. All you got to do is take action. You only got to do it for 30 minutes a day. Literally copy and paste. It's going to be easily completed and epic. All right? All you have to do is charge $10,000 a month for 2 people, though. All right? You good?
Okay.
First
okay,
time.
No? You're not feeling good? You don't like that plan? Okay, cool. Hey, no, I get it. You're not confident in that plan. Let's change up the plan, dude. All you need to do is find 100 people to pay you $200 a month. Okay, you good?
Yeah.
Okay. Come on, bro. I need belief. If you don't believe it, you're not going to do it. And I feel like
I'm like, I got some reservations for sure. 100 people.
Okay.
A lot of people.
Well, we could have done 2 people, but you said no.
Let's cut in between. Let's
600.
In between.
$600 a person at 60 people. I don't know, 51 people, whatever the math is. I don't know. But $600 a person. You good charging that? How's that feel?
I could build up to that.
Okay, so we're not there yet. But how much do you think you can charge somebody today? Like, hey, no problem. Here's how much it cost. Let's just ask that question.
A month? I could do $250. I feel pretty confident with $250 a month.
$250. All right. So confident $250, which means you could probably charge more, but you have no problem showing up and saying $250.
Yes, sir.
Sweet. So that's 80 people.
Okay.
Which is awesome. You can totally handle 80 people. I'm sure service delivery on your mechanism, the way you were going, was going to be one-on-one. Like you were probably going one-on-one, which is fine. All you got to do is hire somebody, though, all right? It's easy. You just hire somebody, and they're going to execute the plan at a really high level, okay? We're still good.
Mm-hmm,
We're still good.
Yep.
All right.
Panicking.
How much money do you think we should pay this assistant coach?
Well, I heard there's certain countries that are pretty affordable, so hire
No,
You're
I'm
gonna
not doing a VA for an assistant coach.
you're going international for
Oh
somebody who's
no.
not gone through our things to deliver your coaching services. How do you think that
Yeah, probably not.
product quality is going to be?
Pretty bad.
Actually, I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of
I'm
curious.
just here to ask questions. You can keep going down this road. I'm good. If you want to go down the VA road, because I get it, VAs are awesome. We can pay people a lot of money in their currency, and it's a little bit of money for our currency. I'm down if you're down. If you're committed, I'm committed. I got you.
All right, yeah. Let's play around with those numbers.
All right, sweet. So we're gonna play around with those numbers. So first things first, it's probably going to take you about 90 minutes every single day to coach these people to make sure they know what they're doing. Okay? You good with that?
Mm-hmm.
And when they do something wrong, are you going to be able to tell them that they did something wrong?
I hope to. I can do it. I don't know if they'll respond to that feedback, but I can do it.
Okay, I'm losing. I still need 250 confidence, Brandon.
250 confidence. Yep,
confidence.
I will do it. I will do it.
Okay, cool. So we're going to spend 90 minutes a day talking to people internationally to make sure that they understand what we're doing.
Yep.
Yes.
Google
Okay.
Translate. It's gonna be a.
Well, they speak English.
Oh,
they
they
speak
do.
English
Okay.
still.
my
Yeah.
God.
I mean, you can hire some people that don't speak English. But Brandon's like, I didn't know Steve was going to grill me on this, but we're just building a business, bro. I'm building a business however you want to build a business. So VAs internationally, 80 clients a month. Your margins are going to be great. Like, let's just be honest here, because but let's talk about service delivery. So, hey, Brandon, I want to be your client. I'm going to pay $250 a month. What do I get every month?
You get check-in calls weekly. You get
How long is that check-in call weekly?
30 minutes.
30 minutes. Awesome. Okay. What else do I get?
We'll give you check-ins. Obviously, we'll talk about what their previous week looked like, how they've been feeling. Look at their biofeedback markers, depending on what they situationally. I guess it'll depend on person to person. Like, hey, whatever.
So I get to hop on live Zoom call with these international VAs, and they're going to speak to me for 30 minutes about what's going on.
It's gonna be a real smart VA.
Okay.
We'll get.
Okay. I'll stop drilling you right now because I feel like you're starting to feel like, all right, cool. Maybe. Listen, there are multiple people that have created a coaching businesses leveraging VAs that have been very successful. I don't know who they are, but I'm sure that they exist because there's going to be, well, I did that. I know there's one of you, more than one of you. But the reason you went down the VA road is because you wanted to reduce expenses, right? So let's say non-VA. We're gonna keep somebody home because we don't want to lead people an hour and a half every single day on group calls and then have one-on-one calls afterwards. How much do you think we're paying that person?
A little bit more than what we're paying VA.
Well, you're not paying them $5 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, $5, $10, like even $15 an hour for a VA. In the scenario you threw out, half hour a week, let's assume a 4-week month. From that perspective, we got 2 hours of service delivery plus probably another hour to 2 hours of preparing. So there's 4 hours. So you're probably getting away with spending somewhere between $50 to $80 on a VA person per client per month, right? Just to put that into perspective, some really quick math. Now, somebody local, do we think we're going to get them for $50 to $80 a month per client?
A little bit more.
A little bit more. Probably $100 is probably entry, like out of the gates minimum. But I'm willing to bet that person won't stay employed by you for very long because eventually they're going to want to make more than $50,000 a year. So would you say 150 is a fair, like, hey, I'm going to pay you $40 an hour for your work? Reasonable? You might hold on to them for a long time. If you disagree, you just say, Steve, I disagree.
Let's do it. Yep, let's go. Let's roll it.
Cool,
roll it.
150. So now we have $100 left. So out of the gates.
Yeah, I need to charge more, Steve. I know I need to charge more.
we have $100 times 80 people per month. right?
What is that? 800.
It's $8,000 left out of our
$8,000, yeah.
$20,000 a month business. So we're eating up. We got $12,000 in expenses and just payroll. Just payroll. We got $8,000 left in this new model. $250 a month we're charging them, $150 we're paying our people. So $8,000 left. So right now, if you pay nothing else in your business, Brandon, you're going to make $96,000 a year, which technically speaking, according to who you talk to, we'll round that shit up. You'll be a six-figure coach because it looks good for me in my advertising and I can put you on stage and give you an award I never shipped to you. But that is totally fine, okay? But on the other side of this, how much, what does service delivery look like? Are you going to get like one of the coaching app softwares that people have so that way it feels better?
Yeah.
What is that, like $5 a head?
Is that how much it is? I have no idea.
I don't know. No. $1 a head? $2?
I think the best you'll find is the cheapest is going to be about 20. If you actually want to coach these people and give them feedback, you're probably looking at you said 80 clients, correct?
80 clients.
You're looking at north of $250, $300
total.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Plus, I mean, that's because they usually need to go into a customized like enterprise level. Over 50 is what I've seen.
Understood. So let's say 250. So now we're down to $7,750 left in our profits. We're getting farther away from that 100K, dude. Are you going to send people any gifts or any welcome packages or anything like that? Are you going to send them or anything like that? Make them feel special? You can say no. I don't. For 250, they probably don't deserve any of these things. They're only paying 250. Fuck them. No gifts. They're not getting anything. So because of that, your retention is shit, and they're only staying for 3 months. Fair? Because you're not sending them anything, and they're just not getting great service. They don't know that you love them. So now every 3 months, you have to find a way to replace 27.3 people. I don't know if my math is good, but I'm just throwing out random numbers that sound good. 26.67 or something like that. Okay. So you got to every month basically get one new person per day. You can do that free, or you think you need to spend some money on ads?
Oh, this is a lot. There's a lot that goes into this. Oh, from ads.
There's going to spend some money on ads. Attaboy, because you'll get more leads and you'll get more clients by spending money. So now we're at 7750, some service delivery there. Let's go modest. How do you feel about, like, I don't know, $30 a day? That feels pretty low on ad spend. Is it reasonable? Too high? Too low? What are you thinking?
What is that a month? $30 a day?
$900 a month ish.
$900 a month ish.
Just round it up to 1,000.
Round it up to 1,000. Yeah, 1,000 a month.
Sweet. So now we're down to 6,750. I'm gonna round it up for you so we can just stay with whole numbers. But that's $7,000 a month that you're taking home. That's times 12 is $84,000 a year. And after you give 25% or so of that back to the government, you have now found your way into a job where you're earning somewhere in the range of $50,000 to $55,000 a year, plus some owner perks. So, all the things. And the only 3 things we paid for was people, a software deliver service, and some marketing. We know that there are a lot of other things we got to pay for in our business, but I don't want to keep going down this road because Brandon's like, he's turning red, which is hard for him. And everybody listening is like, poor Brandon. So the point I'm trying to make here is really quickly at charging $250 a head times 80 people, you got to hire. Hiring costs money. And you're either going to pay people a little bit more and invest in them, they'll stay with you a little bit longer, or you're going to pay them less and you're going to spend more time hiring new people. Right? Like, it's just very simple. I can over deliver on results to my clients and they'll stay with me longer. I can over deliver to my employees. They'll stay longer. Or I can under deliver and find new clients, find new employees. Just factually speaking, that's what is going on here. And like Andrew would say on a client delivery side, like, how long do you think the average client stays with a coach? Let's ask that question. How many?
92 days.
Really? I didn't even know that, and I nailed it at 3 months.
Yeah. I mean, we looked at, we sourced information from 3 different online coaching services totaling over 150,000 clients. The average online coach stayed on a platform 10 and a half months. We don't know if they migrated or if they just stopped coaching, but online is a lot more transient than brick and mortar.
92 days. So every 92 days, I need to find a new client to replace that client. Plus add on clients to grow my business.
Well, you want to know something crazy? The
What's
average, it takes 5.4 months to train someone before they become valuable for a company.
that?
So now you're looking at, if you're going to hire and you're desperate to hire, and you hire someone, you just throw them in the mix and you don't teach them how you want things done, you're going to jack your brand up. They're going to deliver an unpredictable service, probably not very consistently, leaving the clients frustrated, leaving you with now a coach that you don't have the time to train, nor clients that don't respond because the things that you think are being taught are just not getting passed along. And it really becomes this toxic downward spiral of, now people are going to spend more money on ads to find more clients, to then try to pay for the coach. And at the end of the day, it's just consolidating and taking your time during the growth process and knowing what those critical milestones are looking ahead. We know that. Steve, what are the main times of year where people will usually purchase in the fitness industry?
Definitely July 4th. That's
4th of July. Okay.
4th of July is one of the biggest holidays that people commit to fitness things.
Yep.
So
Any other ones?
no. No. Your bigger times are going to be more the New Year's resolution time. And I'm going to say that there's a little bit of a gap of either, hey, I'm starting my New Year's resolution, I need some help. Hey, I've gone down the road of making this commitment to a New Year's resolution, I'm not getting the results, I need some help. So there's probably, I'd say, up to a 90-day lag of that person in the beginning of the year. So let's say Q1. And then oh my God, the summer's over, I'm out of sync, my normal routine, et cetera, tends to be that next time, September, October into early November, before Thanksgiving becomes a thing. So November is even a little bit of a stretch. Those are your two, I'll say, easiest times. I do believe you can go get clients in June, July, August, November, December. Like, I think it's very possible, but it's not the common thing that we see in here.
Yeah, I would agree. Those generally align with my experiences in like a brick and mortar club, and generally just what we see in online purchases. January, New Year's resolution, specifically in the middle of January. That's when people seem to have the highest buying temperature. They've committed, now they've struggled, now they need some help. Tax season, when people have more disposable income, oddly enough. Summer vacation, we find that depending on what you're doing, online stuff, not as much. Brick and mortar, club sales will go up, so people will have more foot traffic, and they'll try to drop their kids off at daycare and then come work out. So if you're a brick and mortar person, September, when kids go back to school, parents have more free time now, so they tend to try to find things to fill it. And then we're looking at your pre-sale for these events. And if you start to get ahead of these things by knowing what to market, knowing how to develop yourself, I think that it really makes a long-term sustainable professional development plan of, when do you need to focus on building your business by selling or marketing, and when do you have more time to go learn new skills, learn new diagnostics, learn new training methodologies that can help your clients improve. And I think that you can't really do both at the same time. So if you ever feel like your brain's turning to mush, chances are you're going further away from being a 100K trainer, and you're just getting too into the trenches, which means you need to either get more efficient, hire someone, right, like all the processes you guys just walked through, or you're going to need to spend a little more money to find a better, I shouldn't say better quality client, but someone that might be willing to pay you a little bit more, so you can then reduce your client load. 20 clients at 250, or excuse me, at 500 versus 40 clients at 250, same, right? So it's just, you got to play around with the numbers, but understanding you can't do everything at the same time, I think, is the one thing that I wish I had known starting my own professional journeys. I tried to do marketing, I tried to do sales, I tried to do, a master's degree, I tried to start a CrossFit gym, I tried to do all these things at the same time, and it really just led to me not being a great coach from just like I didn't really care as much, and people felt that. Yeah.
So we've spent the better part of 40 minutes. Well, let's say the first minute saying, we're not going to bash this. We've now spent 40 minutes bashing it. How about we take 5 minutes and just give like, hey, what would we do should we want to build a 6-figure business? And what are some of the things we would watch out for? And I'll kick it off, because I know neither of you are waiting for this question to come. But the first thing I would do is effectively build and plan the business. I don't want to say put a business plan together, because we commonly think of the investing slide deck and all the things. And not that I think that that's a bad exercise, but it's very much overkill. And what I think about, what I mean by actually building a business plan is, what and how am I going to take my business and grow this to what my goals are? Well, what are my goals? What is the thing? Why am I trying to become this? And if 6 figures, so $100,000 is the thing, then fantastic. But what does that look like? Am I going to serve 80, 40, or 20 people? 40 people, you charge twice as much as 80. 20 people, you charge twice as much as the 40, which is twice as much as the 80. And that's how your numbers work. So what does your service delivery look like? What does your service fulfillment look like? Are you spending an hour? Are you spending 4 hours? Are you spending 8 hours each week, each month, each day, whatever, working on that client's items? And then how do you scale that thing should you need to get there? Because you need to know, hey, I only want to work this many hours a week doing this thing. So 40 feels like the appropriate number, just because that's considered, call it full time. But what are you going to do during those 40 hours? And if all of a sudden client servicing to generate the revenue takes up 32 hours of your time, okay, cool. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But how do you plan to market and sell and do the other things that are needed in your business with only 8 hours? Maybe you have the best system in the world, maybe you don't. Well, if that doesn't feel good, well, you need to re-engineer that now versus waiting until you're trying to get to this thing and you're dying. Because like Andrew said, you're just going to hire someone. You're going to waste 5.5 months of time training them. And chances are they'll probably leave before 5.5 months anyways. And along the way, they'll have built a better relationship with your clients and take some of them with you. So you're going to step backwards through that process and be more tired. So first things first, build the plan. What is this business going to do? What does it represent? And why are you building it this way? And what are some of those key milestones you're targeting? And know, when I get to X thing, I'm going to hire my person, pay them this much and charge this much. So that way I can afford to pay all of my other expenses and keep my margins healthy, etc. And that should be in your plan. Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, that's such a loaded question. Go read all the books. Don't buy courses. No, you know, there's so many things that come into what I would have done if I were starting my coaching business over. Number one, and I love and I agree with you, that the plan is important. However, I think planning from how you're spending your time and literally calendaring out day by day, 40 hours. What does that look like? Because you get really present really quickly, or however much time you want to allocate. Like if you have a main job, which actually I would strongly recommend people that are trying to enter the coaching space, you keep your day job, right? And it sounds counterintuitive, and everyone's going to say, oh, you need to quit your job and go do a, time freedom and all this other crazy shit. Well, yeah, time freedom, if you can't pay your bills, is fucking hell, right? So you got to be smart with your money. And I say that if I were to start over, I would schedule out my week, 50 hours at whatever job I had, and then I'd spend probably 5 to 10 hours a week on my side business. And that over time would get bigger and bigger. And eventually I would have to make a choice. And then I would have enough systems in place to ramp that side business, in this case, coaching. So with that 5 to 10 hours, I'd take on one client for free if I were starting out brand new, probably 2 or 3 actually, if I could, 2 or 3 clients, understand what problems people are coming to me with and how to quickly solve those. And I get really good at those 2 or 3 people. I'd ask them for referrals. I would deliver results. I would then use them as testimonials and social proof and a demonstration asset to be like, hey, I can actually do what I'm saying I can do. Would anyone like to pay me $50 a month? You take 1 or 2 on at 50, take another 1 or 2 on at 100, and basically kind of caterpillar your rate, because the people that are paying you low amounts of fees are probably going to drop off anyway. So you just don't want to have, I have an empty roster mentality, because you get the sales stink and people don't inherently want to be part of something or purchase something, in my experience, from a service delivery perspective, if someone's not busy. If you're busy and you're full, they want more of it. So the question is, how do you create the perception of being busy and filled? That's by having clients. And I know a lot of coaches that, I'm not going to coach for free. Well, good luck being broke, because this is the fucking service industry. You have to serve, right? And if you have no history, you have no demonstration assets, what's the proof of concept? Why would anyone want to fork over hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to you? It doesn't make sense. So keep your 9 to 5, take on 5 clients at a time. As one leaves, get someone else that's on a waiting list or something along those lines. and increase the rate. So now you have one at 50, one at 100, one at 150, one at 200, one at $250, and you hang out at $250 and you just slowly replenish. And then as the $100 person drops off, you have another client at 250, right? But that stuff takes time because again, every 90 days, one drops off. That means every 90 days, your average charge rate will increase. And that's where a lot of people are trying to go from, 0 to 10 clients in 10 days with no systems, no social proof. And that's why most people that take certain advice pieces don't consider the context and they fall off. So all that to say, slow down, organize your life and your schedule. If it's not scheduled, it's not going to get done. To-do lists are terrible things in my opinion. And then start slow. Find your first free client, maybe a second one, then find two more that are a little bit more expensive that are paying, and then just creep your way up until eventually you get to work how much you want to work. There was a point where at the peak of my coaching career, I was charging $2,000 a month and I had a couple clients, right? That's all I wanted. I just wanted anywhere from 5 to 7K in coaching revenue on top of my other job. No issues, right? So it's possible. You don't have to have 100 clients at $100 or whatever it is, but you just got to find the model that works for you. And some people love the volume coaching. Some people love the deeper diagnostic stuff, but you don't know.
Were you coaching 2.5 to 3.5 people at a time? Because 5
Well,
to
certain
7K
rates,
divided by 2,000.
they crept. So I had a couple at 1,500, and then I did the
I'm just
2,000
fucking with
thing.
you.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, and
just
people don't have the context though, so, but yeah, I started out the first client ever. I charged $197 a month. And this was when online coaching was like taboo in 2014. Had a couple there. And then I had a couple at, 500 a month. And then I had a couple of 1,000 and then 1,500 and then 2,000. And as I went up in price, I also added things to it, like, sending them a Whoop strap and monitoring them and doing labs, frequently and doing their supplements, and really just a handhold concierge type model that wasn't there to start with. And it's because mostly I got frustrated because people wouldn't do what the fuck they were supposed to do. So I was like, I'm going to just include it. So, all that to say, when it comes to a business plan, I think the first thing you need to do if you have no experience is get started and let the plan kind of unfold. And once you get overwhelmed and frustrated for the first time, I think that's probably the saturation point where you have enough information now to make and improve your processes. So there you go, young Andrew, whoever you are. I hope that's the fucking playbook that I would have run, 20 plus years ago now. Brandon?
What do you got, Brandon?
Yeah, and my again, I think I've talked about this in the past. I'm a genuinely pretty conservative thing whenever it comes to any type of my business ventures, and it's worked out pretty well. But yeah, I would just say recommend, and that I think that might be, again, we're talking about those ads that we talked about pretty early on, might just go kind of against what I have practiced for all these years. But I'm a big advocate for going slow, especially working with if you are working full time, even part time, keeping that job, because I think we're always looking for, there's this culture of get rich quick, where it's like, oh, I want to quit my job, I want to be able to do what I love and just go for it without really any frameworks or anything like that. And if you don't have the experience, I mean, you might not even like what you want to do if you have no experience in it. And so I think it is, take it slow. And I mean, I don't run ads for any of my other services, but it's all word of mouth. And I think especially when it comes to your health and your nutrition, your fitness, getting those referrals and just having some sort of concept of proof to advocate for yourself. Because I can run around and say, hey, I have X, Y, and Z certifications, and I can get you from point A to point B. How's that sound? And it's like, well, I don't know, who are you? What do you have any proof? It's like, no. But I paid a lot of money for these certifications. You should trust me. And take it slow. If you really do enjoy what you're doing, I don't think it should really be something that what's the word, like, you won't give up. You won't, if you really do enjoy it. If you really don't, great. Instead of quitting your job and taking on 40 clients all in 1 month, and now you're like, I hate this. Well, good luck. Got to go get your job back. So I think it allows you to kind of get your toes wet, see if you do really like it, and keep pursuing coaching, or maybe maybe even try to narrow down who your population or that you want to serve is. Because there is that mindset where you want to be able to just get your first dollars and service whoever you can get. But if it's like well, I'm type 2 diabetic. I'm not, but you're working with someone like, I'm type 2 diabetic and I really need help. You're like, okay. I'm like, okay. There's some lines we might be crossing there. So, and then you're like, oh, this is my first hand experience. I hate it. I don't like working with people because, but that was your one sample size. So be patient, take it slow, see who you want to work with, see how comfortable you feel with certain populations. And that's what I would, tell myself if I was younger, and because I think it's worked out pretty well for me. Not outside of nutrition coaching, but different
Still young.
services.
He's still young.
I got a lot of years under these on these boots.
A lot of miles.
Got a lot of miles. I've seen life. If you guys need any life advice, don't hesitate to
There's a
reach
life
out.
coach, guys.
Yeah. I went to therapy once.
He charges $2,500 a month for it.
Oh my god.
He stayed at a Holiday Inn or whatever that commercial is.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
All right. Well, we shit on being a six-figure coach for quite a bit, but the reality is here that we actually want you to get there. I think the biggest thing is none of us want you to be surprised when you get there. We're not saying slow down, move any slower. We're saying make sure you have a plan in place. If you're charging $100 a month now, how does that serve you when you get there? If you have $100 a month worth of experience and abilities, how is that going to serve you in the future? If you want to maintain high volume, all those pieces, build that business. If you want to go super concierge level and spend and be high fee side of things, figure that out. Just make sure you have a plan, and all of those things matter. You need to know what to expect down the road, because you don't want to hire people that leave in 4.5, 5.5 months. You don't want to have clients that stay on average only 90 days. You don't want to spend all day, every day trying to figure out how to generate new leads, only to have to spend all night doing check-ins and ultimately hating business. So know what you're getting into, build a plan, and fulfillment is just as important as acquisition, which is just as important as fulfillment. So make sure you're paying attention. Otherwise, subscribe, rate, review, ask us some questions.
Share.
We can't deliver content that, and share it. We can deliver the content that you want if you don't tell us what you want.